basically, you guys are back at the Oasis after your little adventure murdering leprechauns and killing sharks. And you are approached by Lorna Vindicar. She has been tending to the princess along with Sarah, and they are all kind of just tending to her basically at the moment. But Lorna says that she has found some information about something that might be fairly interesting to you specifically.
Pray tell the information, witch.
You could address me a little bit better than calling me a witch.
I could, but is that going to get us the information any faster?
Touché. So basically, Lorna informs you that to the north, she's received information that there is somebody out in the desert who is considered to be a very skillful gunsmith. And he's one of the only gunsmiths in the southern hemisphere, basically. But he's also very accomplished in what he does. His name is Fernando.
Are you sure it's not Alejandro?
No, thank you God it is not. So, basically, he is a gunsmith named Fernando, and apparently he has this massive gunsmithing / forge shop that's out in the middle of the desert. And he does a lot of, custom stuff like that, but she thinks that he's kind of stumbled upon something a little bit new, a little bit kind of ahead of the curve. And she's suggesting that it might be something that you'd be interested in.
Well, unfortunately, our brother seems to have gone comatose, so I think in his stead we'll accept. Too much whiskey, I think.
I mean, to be fair, his little frog body can only handle so much.
You seem to have gone comatose for a minute there. You're staring at clouds. I don't know what happened.
I couldn't tell you either. I was just kind of there. Well now, this is information that I quite find useful. Let's not dilly-dally and continue forward.
This seems like the perfect chance to blow some shit up, which I've been rather craving after having babysat the princess for quite a while. You see, a comatose person still takes a shit, and then you still have to wipe their ass, regardless of if they're asleep or not. You think I'm going to trust a zombie to clean someone's ass, then you're crazy, because they're already dirty. I don't want her to become a zombie too.
You're just gonna see me, just cross-armed, just shaking my head.
Well, let's go to that blacksmith forge, and while we're on the journey, we can discuss the riveting tale of the Five Nights at Freddy's timeline.
I vote that we blow Kane up at the next chance that we get.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a quick roll to see if you run into anything along the way. Alright, that is a 6.
Listen here, I made the zombie do the Jacko pose because I thought it would be funny, but then his ass fell off while I was doing it, and it was absolutely absurd.
So, you guys are traveling through the desert. You're on your zombified camelback, and you're going off to this area where this gunsmith runs his forge. Now, as you're walking through the desert, every single person here, roll a search check. God, yeah, Velno's 21, okay. Is that just a flat one, Arch, or is it?
Yeah, it's a flat 16.
Alright, so basically, as you guys are going through the desert, you feel the ground begin to rumble below your feet. You're not really sure what's going on. You look around in the area, and you don't see anything. You think maybe you'd see a whole herd of animals running across the desert or something like that. That's what it feels like. But in reality, you notice that the rumbling is coming from below the ground.
Tarask, I'm going to be very upset.
I'm gonna yell out, it's the forbidden butthole. Run.
Balloon, run the other way!
So as you guys are running away on the camels, you see the ground begin to part below you, and out of the ground comes a giant purple worm with its mouth agape. All of you roll a ride check to see if you can outrun this thing.
It's the Thanos worm.
Going.
Right.
May he cleanse the world in his passing. Oh fuck, I have rolled a 6.
I'm gonna yell out I've been vindicated! It's the forbidden butthole! And looks like Arch is the only one that rolled.
Yeah, I've very
under a 15
into the forbidden butthole.
Yeah, so Arch, you are going to get swallowed. The other guys, you are continuing to outrun it. However, it is still chasing you. So you're going to have to make another ride roll.
Syra is just slapping the reins on the undead camel, just galloping, and then she suddenly finds herself in the dark. She's like, oh goodness.
Kane, you are the only one who has stayed in front of the worm. Cham and Velnos, you guys both fall far enough behind where your camels and everything are swallowed up by the massive mouth. Now, Arch, your character is now inside the mouth, but now you see Cham and Velnos flying towards you through the air.
Well, welcome to the party. Also, don't hit me, please.
I'm gonna use spider climb. I'm gonna just climb onto the fucking inside.
You can use your tongue. That'll be a dex roll.
Please do your best to not land on me.
I'm gonna try and roll climb as well.
Well, he's able to shoot his tongue out. You're just kind of in midair, so I guess you can kind of... Actually, you might be able to use your sword maybe to dig into something. That would still be a dex check because you have a dex sword. Oh, I'm glad you did that. Okay. All right, so Cham, you rolled high enough where your tongue shoots out and you latch on to this little, like, protruding piece of bone that's kind of sticking out from the side of where the mouth is, and you're able to pull yourself back down to the ground. Velnos, you take out your sword and you dig it into the bottom of the creature's mouth, just enough so that you stop your fall backwards and you're able to land gracefully on your feet without taking damage. You three are still inside. Kane, you are still running. You're going to have to roll a ride roll to see if you can keep it going.
17.
I'm going to say, for the sake of continuing this, that this is the point where you get swallowed as well.
Fuck.
So you're going into the mouth. So Cham, you want to do spider climb? You want to try and climb out the front of the worm's mouth?
Yeah.
Okay. As you use spider climb to climb towards the edge of the mouth, Kane flies past you and into the mouth. And as that happens, the worm then closes its mouth and proceeds to dive back below the surface. So as you get closer to the mouth, it closes, locking you inside.
I would like to say, generally, that at this time, it seems like the GM wishes for us to look for the butthole.
Before we get to your idea, I do need to have Kane roll to make sure that he's able to land successfully. Ooh,
I
okay,
hope that's
yep.
enough.
Yeah, no, that is enough. You land successfully. So all four of you have successfully landed inside.
I know exactly what I'm gonna smack.
I don't believe that this particular worm has a uvula because it's meant to swallow everything. Like I said, I think we should start aiming for the butthole or the blowhole, depending on what kind of species this is. Does anybody have any, knowledge worm?
What if we tickle its tongue?
I mean, does it have a tongue? It might be just out.
The tongue is not amazing, but it does have a tongue. The worm is currently tunneling under the ground, so you're pretty much safe as long as you're in the mouth and it doesn't open itself up to try and eat again.
I'm gonna cut off the tongue.
I'm not gonna make you roll for attack, I'm just gonna allow you to roll for damage.
It's a 9.
Okay, so you do 9 damage to the wall of its mouth. You basically do all of poke it with your 2 little tiny daggers, and nothing happens. Keep in mind, though, since it is completely dark in there, I think elves have low light vision, and I believe the frogs do too, but I don't think, Arch, I don't think you have low light vision unless you took that.
No, I did not, but I will say, fuck your degenerate lesser races. I cast light. And I snap my fingers and light bubbles come around me.
So I'm gonna like elbow my brother, going ribbit. Pretty much what it says means, look at this little bitch has to use magic. We can see through the dark.
Listen here, you fucking slick little mucusy man. I can understand your language, and in addendum, go get eaten by the French. I continue onwards down the stomach.
I'm gonna look at my brother like, what the fuck is a French?
Roll wisdom.
Roll wisdom? Okay.
Both of you.
Oh, that was a 19! Fuck off!
So it's a 13 and a 10. Neither one of you knows what the fuck he's talking about, or she's talking about, and you don't really feel like asking. You feel like it's a sore subject. Alright, so Arch, you continue down into the bowels of the worm. Are any of you guys going to follow her?
You know, I'm gonna take the lead.
You're going to walk in front of me after I've already walked in front. How absolutely chipper of you. I tell you what, why don't you go ahead of me in case of any stomach acid, traps, monsters, creatures, things that will kill us, and I will say that it's a zero-sum loss when you get eaten.
I mean, technically, he's already been eaten.
I mean, eaten further. You think this creature doesn't have creatures inside of it? You're retarded. And you're a frog. So there.
I'm just gonna go on the ceiling, I'm gonna go ribbit.
There's no ceiling, it's a stomach! Stop your bullshit!
You can climb on the walls, roll a climb check. Even though you have spider climb, that doesn't defy gravity.
360-degree stomach mucus membrane that goes down to its fucking esophagus. I hate these goddamn frogs. Is there anyone here who isn't a frog?
No.
I'm just gonna like common like someone's salty.
I'm going to show you salt, you fucking snail-looking motherfucker.
So I say, can you see me as I cast Obscuring Mist?
I will cast Dispel Magic.
Jam, as soon as you cast the mist is dispelled and he can see you again.
Yes, I can see you, you slimy, froggy fuck. Yeah, we're wasting spell slots for this spat. So,
Fuck it.
so we continue on towards the stomach of the worm, looking for a blowhole or an asshole or anything we can climb out.
Yep, you're gonna have to roll search checks to see if you find anything of use that might be able to get you out of it.
I got a 24.
Search.
Syra got a 19, so despite this froggy fucking goddamn toad,
Oh.
not you, you're fine. Question,
I-
if I cut off a section of flesh, could I resurrect that as part of the worm?
It's a massive worm, so if you cut a chunk out of the side of it and then reanimate the chunk, you'll just have a reanimated chunk of worm meat.
Worm.
It's a natty one.
That's a natty one.
That's a nat one. That's a nat one. You auto fail. So we're gonna do Kane first, and then we'll go to the people that succeeded. So Kane, basically what happens is you roll the nat one, so you're looking for a way to get out, and you actually look to your left, and you see what looks like a little cavity in the wall. And as you go into that cavity, you realize that it actually leads nowhere, and that you're just in a weird hole in the wall. It's comfortable, but there's nothing there.
Are you telling me
live
he's
here.
finger fucking the worm right now?
Yes. Velnos, you also see nothing. Sarah and Curtis, you guys both see that it appears when as you enter into the what appears to be some form of a stomach, that there is a little tear in one edge of the stomach. It's kind of healed over. It looks like it's a wound that's relatively recent, but it's healed up, and you may be able to re-rupture it if you put enough force into it.
And it looks like there's an opening over there if we have some form of knife or blade. Didn't we start this quest looking for a gun? This is absolutely absurd. Somebody with a knife, go cut the thing open.
I'm gonna toss Syra a kitchen knife.
Is that what you're handing me? It's a kitchen knife from the time I helped you. Is that what you're talking about?
Fine. I'm gonna dig in. Is it a search?
The only thing I would maybe ask is because you're digging into a bag that's full of sharp objects is a dexterity check so you don't cut yourself.
I cut myself.
Yes, you did. You did cut yourself. Take 2 damage.
But while I'm in there, I'm gonna find a dagger. I'll find a better dagger that is not a fucking kitchen knife.
Okay, you pull out what looks like a relatively sharp dagger. It does 1d4 plus 2 damage.
So I toss it through.
Dexterity check to make sure he can actually catch it.
I'll try and catch it, I suppose.
Dexterity check.
So I reach my hand out, and Velnos just
Wait a
puts
minute.
his hand over
Velnos,
and grabs it.
are you sniping the dagger?
Yes.
Velnos, you grab the dagger out of midair.
Yoink.
Alright, so now you have the dagger, Velnos, in addition to your sword, which is probably better at cutting. Well, you can go and try and cut that open. Oh, that's
So it's
fine.
a 6.
Okay. So you stab the dagger in and begin working your way down the stomach lining. You're able to cut through it, and as you look through the, you haven't cut all the way down to the base so you can walk through it, but you did cut enough of a hole where you can actually pry it apart a little bit and see through it. And as you look on the outside, you see that it just kind of is like a layer of like fat nastiness that's on the outside of the stomach. But it does appear that the external wound that caused the stomach rip is still there, so you can see earth kind of rushing by your face as you're looking out this small tiny hole. It's almost like looking out like the window on a subway.
Do we have enough wooden materials to make a big fire?
There is a lot of wood in the stomach because of things that the worm has just eaten over time, so you could gather it and possibly light it on fire. Everybody roll a search check to see what you can find for kindling.
This is gonna go so wrong.
So, as far as search check goes, Arch, you find what appears to be what's left of a raft. You're not sure how a raft got inside of a desert sandworm, but it is there, and it's basically kind of the equivalency of like a pallet worth of wood. Cham, you were able to find something a little bit different. You were able to find what appears to be an outhouse that was swallowed at some point. It doesn't smell pretty, but it's wood and it's probably burnable. Velnos, after looking through, you actually do find a small wagon, like a two-wheel wagon that you can pull behind a horse. It's kind of broken up, and there's a lot of pieces that are messed up on it, but again, it's wood and it will burn. Now, as for Kane, you rolled a 26, so you find what is a luxury carriage that is filled with frilly things that will very easily light on fire. Basically, as you're kind of pushing that out, you notice that there is also a book of matches under the seat.
While that's happening, I'm gonna go to the outhouse. I'm taking a shit.
You're gonna take a shit in the outhouse?
Yeah.
Roll Constitution. Cham, you sit down on the toilet in the outhouse, which is really just a hole on the bottom of it. There's no real toilet. And you have explosive diarrhea. And that winds up propelling your tiny frog body off of the seat. And you wind up flying out and landing on the ground face first. You don't take any damage. However, you do need to return to the outhouse in order to wipe.
I do that.
You return to the outhouse and proceed to wipe. You are now clean and your bowels are relieved. You will not need to shit again for a very long time.
I'm gonna walk out like freaking Shrek, just kick out the door. Like, oh wait, I wouldn't go in there if I were you.
He absolutely decimates Syra, who is waiting outside the fucking toilet.
If you weren't around dead things so often, I'd make you roll Constitution to see if you puke, but I'm not going to do that. Basically, you guys are able to locate a large amount of wood and bring it to the center. Kane, you do have the book of matches, so you can try and light it on fire.
Might as well try. Not really do anything else. 14.
You light one, and then you light the rest of the matches, and you put that inside of the wood there. And the wood slowly but surely begins to light on fire. The fire then proceeds to cause a lot of smoke to fill the inner cavity of the worm. The body of the worm is wriggling around like it's uncomfortable. This is also at the same time that the fire is also starting to reach the actual body of the worm, since everything in the stomach is now engulfed in flames. And the worm then proceeds to, you feel like the worm is proceeding to go upward as if it's going to breach the surface.
I would hold on to something if I was in a view. Something that can hold in your entire body weight.
You guys are all going to have to roll. This would be a strength check because you're going to have to hold on for dear life, basically, as it's moving up.
Am I able to just stick my daggers into the wall and just use spider climb?
If you're using spider climb and the daggers, you will get a +3 to your roll.
I have a better idea. Instead of using strength, I'm gonna find a random plank and just vomit surf.
You grab a 2x4 and you prepare for the inevitable surf.
Let's go!
Oh! So Kane, you're able to hold on because you rolled a nat 20, and as you are holding a nat 20, Velnos, who is trying to do a surf trick, is falling backwards with his 2x4. So you're able to grab the 2x4, and he is prepared to do the surf. So once he actually does his surf trick, you'll actually be able to ride the front of the surfboard thanks to your nat 20. So basically, what's going to happen here is the worm breaches the surface as smoke begins to billow out of the front of its mouth. And as this happens, it begins to regurgitate. So as this happens, you see behind you from the stomach, a lot of its contents, as well as a lot of nasty smelling liquid, is rushing towards you. Velnos, you rolled a surf check of a 16, and Kane, I'm going to let you roll to reinforce that since you're riding on the front. All right. Well, since that's just a reinforcement, I'll say that bumps Velnos' roll up a little bit. So, you guys are surfing on stomach vomit right now. Cham and Arch, do you guys want to try and jump on Velnos' makeshift surfboard to surf your way out of here?
Fuck it. I'm going to do a jump check.
You jump to it successfully. Arch, are you going to do that, or are you going to try and ride it out some other way?
I'll be perfectly frank. Syra's pretty okay with vomit.
Use the tongue. Grab the cleric.
Sure. Am I able to do that?
You're within range. I'll say it's a straight dexterity roll. Okay, 13.
She just spreads her arms, sees the tongue coming at her, and backhands it out of the way, because that 6 means that I 100% ride the wave of vomit.
That is 100% true. You are just, it's like you're kind of in a pool, Like, you're just kind of lying back in the vomit. You're riding it kind of like you would like the current in the low part of the ocean. The worm vomits you out, so you guys who are riding on the board, you guys ride out the wave of vomit, and the board comes to a stop. You are all perfectly fine. Arch, you float on the pool of vomit and come down onto the sand of the desert, and basically just kind of you're lying there on your back with your hands behind your head, very relaxed, smelling and covered in nasty, horrible things. The worm, by the way, is now above ground, and it's still kind of hacking up. There's still smoke coming out of it.
I want to do a search check to see if there's like a weakness.
Okay.
I'll do the same just to reinforce.
Oh, you both rolled 17s. Basically, you can discern that the outside of the worm, the skin is relatively thick. The weakness for it probably would be inside of it, because it doesn't have eyes. It all it really has is a mouth, a lot of teeth, and a body. It looks like the worm is kind of done with you. The worm is still hacking up, and as you guys are watching this kind of weird sight of a worm just like coughing up smoke, you hear a massive explosion. And as you hear that massive explosion, as you guys are watching the worm kind of writhe around in pain, the worm explodes into a million pieces. You guys are then bathed with nasty, disgusting worm bits and guts and everything else.